Let's go now back to Cairo. Anambra State government signing a multi-million-dollar financing deal with the African Export-Import Bank today at the Intra-Africa Trade Fair and Conference in Cairo, Egypt. Our Rise Exchange anchor Bosun Omofaya was there. He joins us now to review the second day of the high-profile summit. Good evening to you, Bosun. Great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. So, can you tell us more about the Anambra State deal with the Afri-Exim Bank and other deals that have been signed today?
Yes, thank you, Rotus. It's good to get back with you. You know, we spoke about 3 hours ago on your show, Global Business Report, talked about the Anambra State. The Memorandum of Understanding between Anambra State and Afri-Exim Bank was one of the biggest deals we're talking about. It's the first of such deal between Afri-Exim Bank and any of Nigeria's state governments so far in providing the kind of funding that the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, called about a mega deal between 500 million and $1 billion US. That will be the biggest ever that will ever happen in Nigerian history between Afri-Exim Bank and any subnational. And I spoke with Afri-Exim Bank CEO, the president earlier, Professor Benedict Rama, says he's supporting more subnationals to ensure that they can do more at the grassroots to reach more Nigerians and more people across the various states, municipalities, and others across Africa. Now, remember that Anambra State did an economic summit just a couple of weeks ago, around September or so, which was attended by the managing director of the IATF, that's Kanayo Awani, and she was there in person in Anambra State, in Onitsha, and in Oka, the state capital, and of course they put some pen to paper. So this was following up on what happened in Ibaki at the Anambra Economic and Investment Forum just some couple of weeks ago. Now, we also have a few other deals being looked into, like the one with the Building Society, a commercial mortgage bank in Zimbabwe, Southern Africa, which will support private housing sector in Zimbabwe, about $20 million US. This is something that the country sorely needs, getting this into the private sector and support lending within the Zimbabwean economy. Then, of course, you talk about CANEX, which is a creative art which Afri-Exim Bank has been pushing over the past few years. $1 billion US is a new deal, the African film industry that Afri-Exim Bank is supporting, effective early 2024. And I'm sure you know Nigeria is that centerpiece for creative art on the African continent. So you expect a big chunk of that money to come through to Nigeria's creative industry, which is also good. And what more did you have today with Professor Wole Soyinka, the iconic literature Nobel laureate, speaking in that fireside chat? And that was part of what we have covered here so far today. And again, you find that new innovation that Afri-Exim Bank is also putting up, which is what you call a publishing prize. What that prize will do, Rotus, is to see that those who want to publish books on the African continent will be able to get a prize for their publishing. That will be a whole lot to get those who are writing across Africa to get more into the business. So Afri-Exim Bank is doing far, not just into the investment area, in trade, in agriculture, in energy, but also into the creative industry. Rotus, back to you.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for that rundown on all the highlights that have been going on. What are the key issues, Bosun, and topics are up for discussion over the weekend, well into Wednesday next week when the summit is wrapped up?
Well, the CANEX, the creative arts exhibitions and all that's wrapped up today. From tomorrow, we're getting into other nitty-gritty of the few areas. Industrialization, energy on the African continent. Tomorrow, we'll talk about the automotive sector. It's going to be a couple of hours focusing on the automotive industry. I'm sure you know that South Africa, Egypt, and Morocco are three leading automotive economies on the African continent. The Nigerian government is also looking at revamping some of the automotive sectors, companies that we've had in Kaduna, as well as in Lagos, as well as Innocent Motors in the southeast Nigeria. This will be very beneficial to Nigeria. A number of European automakers are shifting their operations to Morocco. Morocco is making exhibitions here at this particular IATF conference. Egypt will also be part of that hub, not only for automotive, but also for aviation technology. All of that will be discussed tomorrow. Then you talk about transforming the manufacturing sector on the African continent and how the trading companies on the African continent can support the AFCFTA. So what we've seen over the past few years since the IATF started back here in 2018, the first edition was done here in 2018 in Egypt at this same venue. That will be raised up to a different level. Now, let me speak to you a little bit about the energy sector. The whole energy conundrum within the European Union is being looked into tomorrow as part of the conference.
All right, that was Bosun Omofai there. Kind of lost him for a moment, but a massive deep dive into everything that's been going on at the Intra-Africa Trade Fair. They're supporting the creative sector. They're supporting the automotive sector. They're supporting the aviation sector. They already signed a big deal with the Anambra state government. They've already signed a deal with the nation of Zimbabwe. So from countries, different sectors, everything being supported there at the Intra-Africa Trade Fair in Cairo, and it continues. We're going to keep the coverage going right up until Wednesday when everything wraps up. That's again Arise business analyst Bosun Omofai. He hosts this very show that you catch 7 p.m. every evening. So it is the Arise Exchange right here on Arise News.